Hey friends, it's Deanna here, and today we're making the I Love the 70s top, and I love this top because I love the lace overlay. I love all that feeling of the flowy and hippie, and I just love that. And so yes, I'm excited about this one. Before we get started though, let me remind you about our fun fan giveaway of $50 Ellie and Matt gift certificate that we do monthly. And all you have to do to enter is to subscribe to our channel. So pause right now, go subscribe, and comment below and let us know that you subscribed, or let us know what you love about our videos, what you love about our patterns, what you'd like to see in the future, what your favorite patterns are. You can just tell me whatever you want to tell me. I like to hear it. Anyway, but okay, so just a reminder to do that so that you can be entered, because we choose a winner every month and you could be the next winner. So now we're going to go ahead and get started. I've already cut out my pattern as usual, and I'm using this white stretch for the underlay, and I'm using this cream, well this is like an off-white, and I'm using this cream off-white lace for the overlay, and I am already in love. I did the back already because I'm going to show you how to do the steps on the front and all that, but I wanted to have some things kind of already sped up so we don't have to be here all day. So not that it's going to take all that. This is actually pretty simple. I know that sometimes we start sewing or we see a project and we're like, oh goodness, I cannot do that. That is too hard, but this is not the case. You can do it. I know you can do it. So this is my front overlay. This is my bottom, and this is my yoke, my top yoke. I cannot speak today. My top yoke. Okay, and I'm going to mark the center, and I'm going to mark, I think it's a ½ inch. Let me look at my pattern piece. My pattern piece, it shows me where to stop. It's a ½ inch, so it will be a ½ inch total. Okay, so it's like a ½ inch. So I'm gathering my front bodice, and what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna do a gathering stitch throughout the whole thing, and then leave that ½ inch gap on gather. So I'm gonna move the gathers away from the ½ inch. So I'm just removing the spin. I just wanted to remember, but I'm just gonna put it right at the top, tippy top, where that top meets, just like this, and it does it on your front yoke. See how it meets at the top? We want to make sure that that little piece goes right in there, and to do that we cannot have a gather right there, so we're gonna move the gathers just a little bit, not enough to show like, oh my goodness, there's a gap in the gathers right in the front, but just enough that when you put it together it'll just lay nicely. If we put too many gathers it'll be like, so we want to make sure we leave that gap. Now what I'm doing, I'm just going to do a straight stitch, a long straight stitch, a basting stitch basically for my gathers, because it is this lace. It will be super easy to gather. Or I think it will be. Anyway. And you know what? My pin fell off. So I gotta find that. Here's my point right here. Okay. So I want to make sure I gather it the width of the top yoke. I'm gonna grab a little bit. I'm gonna grab a thread from the one side, and I'm just gonna gather it, the width of it. I'm just pulling one of the threads to gather. Okay, so now it's as wide, and now I'm going to even out the gathers between the two sides. I want to make sure that it's even. I don't want to have too many gathers on one side and not enough gathers on the other side, and then it'll look lopsided. Don't like that. Sure, you don't either. So and then I'm moving the gathers away from that spot at the top where my yoke meets right here. So So I'm going to move a little bit of these gathers over to this side. Okay, so here it is, and I've got a 1/2 inch without gathers right here at the middle. Come on, get away from there. All right, so what we're going to do now that I have my gathers in place, and they're the same size as the bodice, and I've got my piece right here in the middle where there is no gathers, where it just meets up. I'm going to grab my yoke and I'm going to place it right sides together. So hard to tell what the right side is on lace. This is the right side, so I'm going to flip this over. Right side up. And here's my little bee. Right sides together, and where that little point is, I'm going to put it right on that. Okay? And then I'm going to meet it all the way down at the raw edge, right sides together. And go ahead and put a marker. I don't know how, like maybe a stand-up pin. I'm gonna stand up one pin on where that center meets. Because what we're gonna do with the front, not with the back. Now the back, you'll just sew it, do the gathering stitch, the width of the back, just like we did with this one. And then, but you don't have to stop at the middle. You don't have to do that, leave that 1/2 inch at the middle. You just go all the way. And then you just sew it straight on. And I already did that one because it's basically the same thing as this, except for it just goes straight. So as you can see right here, you would just sew it straight on. Okay, because it's just a straight. So you just sew those raw edges straight on, just shoop. But with this one, and I used a serger for that, but I'm gonna use the sewing machine for this, because we're gonna go up and stop and leave that 1/2 inch. When we get to the top, stop at the top, and then turn and then go down. So we're gonna go up, turn, go down, or if that makes sense. Hope that makes sense. So we're going up, making sure all your ruffles are catching. Okay, so now we got to the spot. And then now we're going to turn and go down. Ah! My pin got cut. Because we wanted to have that shape. Almost there. Gotta be careful and move all these pins out of the way. There we go. Okay. And now we open it. And we want to make sure that, no! You see, I told you, be careful with what you catch, because I cut a little piece right here of my underlace. I mean, of like the lace coming in. So I'm gonna have to very carefully, because it's lace, remove some of my stitching. Oh no, that's my basting stitch. I don't need to remove that one yet. This is gonna be hard because it's lace. Okay. I wanna show you this. It could cut out and not show it to you. But I wanna show you this because I like to see that we are all human and we all can make mistakes. And that is okay. We can go back and fix them. The one good thing that I have going for me on this one is that I used a white thread, and actually I was looking earlier, like I have an off-white thread, and I'm like, oh, should I use that? And I'm like, no, I'm just gonna use white because the off-white was a little bit too dark and I didn't want it to be too dark. So then that is a good thing that I can kind of see it right here. But I am having a hard time with this one little piece right here wanting to come off. And I see the thread. All right, let me go ahead and fix that. I'll let you go and fix it. Everything else looks good, except for if you can see how that got caught. Let this be a lesson. Don't try to go too fast and let it come up. Hold it down as you're going. So I'm gonna go ahead and go and fix this, and then we'll come back and do the next step. Alrighty, I fixed it. Oh, now my chair's stuck. Okay, so it is fixed, and what you can do now is, if you want, you can go and press up the hem, the seam up, and top stitch along the edge. So you would top stitch up to the point and down, and that will even emphasize that point even more. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, and I didn't top stitch, I did it for the back, but I didn't do it for the front, just because I don't know why I didn't. I guess I could do it, but I was just being lazy. Anyway, so what we're going to do now is, maybe I should top stitch it. Let me go ahead and top stitch it real quickly. I already steamed it up. I'm just doing a top stitch right on it. It's going along the edge. And then when I get to the middle, I'm gonna stop and go down. And release. And that will give it a little bit more of a defined V at the top. And always, as you do another step and you're steaming, make sure that you don't make your iron too hot and burns your lace, especially because this is stretch lace. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is, oh my goodness, that's gonna be so cute. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my liner, and it's gonna be face up on my board, so it's face right side up, and I'm gonna grab my outer and I'm gonna put it face the wrong side of my liner to the right side of my bodice. So they're both facing up. Both right sides are facing up, and I just spit. I'm sorry. You probably didn't even see that, and I probably didn't even have to tell you, and I just told you. I told on me. And we're gonna meet at the shoulders. And you're gonna do the same exact thing to the back. So I already did that to the back. And so what we're gonna do is we're going to base those shoulders, because the liner and the outer, they're gonna be a front piece. The outer and the liner of the back are gonna be the back piece. So they're gonna be one piece together. So we're gonna base at the shoulder. So when we sew them together, we're gonna have 4 layers. We don't want them coming apart. So basting always kind of helps. You don't have to, if you don't want to baste, you don't have to. If you feel confident that, you know, you'll be able to keep it together, that's fine. But I'm basting because I've already had that one issue with the lace, and I don't want to risk it with the lace, because it was actually, once I got off, I turned the video off and I pulled it, it just came right off. But still, I'm scared. I don't want to rip my lace, my beautiful, beautiful lace. Okay, so now I've got, basically, it kind of looks like one front piece together. And now I'm going to grab my back, front and back, right side up. My front is right side up. I'm going to grab my back and put it right side down. So right sides together at the shoulders. And I'm going to attach the shoulders together. Now for this step, you can either do your zigzag stitch on your sewing machine, or you can use your serger. I'm using my serger. Because I want it to attach nicely. And remember, you're doing 4 layers. Okay, and then you can pull out that basting stitch. the way. Okay. Get that basting stitch out of the way. All right, so now that I did that, I'm going to separate my liner and my outer like so. And actually not like so, because this is the right side. I want to do the wrong sides together. So it's coming this way, yeah. So I want to do wrong sides together of my liner and my outer. I mean, sorry, my liner. Oh, wait, no, I don't want to do that because then that's going to get tangled in. Sorry. I'm going to do, let me do my liner first right here. Okay, so right sides together of my outer. And I'm going to sew my sides together. Right sides together. And you want to separate them because, oops, you just want to, because you're supposed to. I guess, you're not supposed to sew them together. That's all I gotta tell you. I don't know. Don't ask me all the questions. I don't know all the reasoning behind everything. So, we are sewing, right now I'm sewing I'm meeting up the sides of the outer, front and back, right at the raw edge. Make sure you meet up that seam right here. Well, right here. Ah, look, it's kind of the same thing. This is the everywhere dress that I'm wearing, that I love, that I need a bunch more of. Every time I wear this dress, I say, I need to make me some more. Okay, I'm gonna serge those sides. And then I forget because there are so many good patterns. And new ones keep popping and I'm like, I gotta make that one. Oh, I gotta make that one. Oh, I gotta make that one. Like, literally all the time. I don't know what Lindsay's doing. She's just whipping out those awesome patterns left and right, and I just can't help myself, so I have to make a new pattern. New pattern, new pattern. And then my old patterns, like other patterns I have that I'm like, oh, I love those, and I'm like, oh, but then I love these too. I just need to get some little elf that can sew for me, so I can keep up. Okay, so we're sewing all the sides. And then we're going to do the same thing for the... So, okay, so that's sewn on together. I'm going to do the same thing for the outer of the... what do you call it? Liner. Remember, it's right sides together. You don't want to do it wrong sides together. You want to do it right sides together. So you got to make sure that you're keeping that in mind when you're putting them together. Right sides together. So you can see the seam out here. That seam on the outside. That's where you want that seam on the outside on this side too. If that makes sense. Because obviously that's the wrong side. You want the seam to show on the wrong side. And obviously you want them to be straight. All right. Not as hard as you thought, huh? It really isn't. I think that sometimes we see a intricate pattern that looks beautiful and we say, oh, I can't make that. But we don't give ourselves enough credit. I always say go for it. I like to purchase fabric from like local stores that fabric that's on sale, like Walmart or places like that. I'm turning it right side out. And there it is. Yep, I turned it the wrong way. Going in. And I like to purchase fabric from like Walmart or stuff like that. So that way I can do like cheap fabric for my trials. And then have the nicer fabric for like everything else. There it is, right side out now. How cute this is turning out to be. I mean, I want to wear it, like I want it for myself. Okay, so now after we do that, we're going to work on our sleeves. And I'm doing my overlay sleeves. So here's my bottom panel. I already did one sleeve, so I'm gonna do the other one. Here's my, oh no, don't do that. Here's my bottom panel, and here's my shoulder. I'm gonna grab this bottom and I'm gonna base stitch it to gather it. I couldn't think of the word. I'm gonna gather it. Gather at the width of the sleeve top. And again, I already did this with my other one. So I just need this one. And then I'm gonna find the right side, which is the hardest part of the whole ordeal. And I'm going to put it right sides together. I like to do the lace, the gathered on top of the non-gathered. Okay, right sides together at the raw edge. And we're gonna pin. And then we're gonna sew those together. Again, I already did this to my other sleeve. So you will have to do that to this sleeve and the other sleeve. And now when you're doing this, make sure you don't do what I did with my bodice. Make sure you pay attention that you don't have the other side coming in at you, trying to get in there. Because they'll try. Make sure those ruffles are standing up. Those gathers. And I've done that before, and I'm always so afraid of doing it, and I didn't pay enough attention, and I did it again. Oh well. It was fixed. It's okay. We can make mistakes. And now we're steam, and if you want to go ahead and top stitch that, you're more than welcome to. After you do that, we're going to grab the sleeve. I'm going to fold it right sides together. Meet up the seam. And go all the way down the side. Raw edges together, right sides together. Go all the way down. And then we're going to go ahead and sew those together to make like a sleeve. This is going to be an inset sleeve. So what that means is some sleeves, we sew them on the bodice while it's still open. That's my seam ripper. I'm going to throw it in here in the drawer because then I won't be able to find it next time. I still have not found one of my tools that I lost a long time ago. In my chaos, that is my sewing room. All right, now I'm grabbing my liner. If you're not using a liner, then you can skip this step, but you just have this sleeve. But since I'm using a liner, I'm grabbing my liner, fold it right sides together. Well, first of all, let's do our hem. We're not gonna hem it. We're just gonna give it a memory hem. This is the right side. Yeah. Wait, which one's the right side? This is the right side. So wrong side. Okay, and half an inch. Just the memory. So that way when you go to sew it afterwards, it'll be easy to tell where it was. Now right sides together. And we're going to sew it together just like we did our outer. You don't have to use a liner for the sleeve, obviously, because you won't be able to see it. I mean, it'll just be lace sleeve, a lacy sleeve. I'm hoping that my little niece will fit into this as it gets a little bit colder. So I did want to do the liner on the sleeve just because if it's cold outside and I want her to wear this little top, I don't want it to be cold on her arms. So this is kind of like a little bit of a sweater knit somewhat, and so I think it will help thinking ahead for once. I'm not usually one to think ahead, but I am today. Okay, so I'm going to fit my liner sleeve into my outer sleeve, and it will be, my liner sleeve will be a little bit longer than my outer because I still have to hem and everything. And actually I might have cut it too long, so I'm going to have to hem it short enough. And that's okay. I mean, it's no big deal. I'd rather it be longer. And then I'm going to meet at the seam first. Put the seams together. And I'm not sewing these together because I'm going to sew them onto the dress, onto the top. But I am going to baste them together because when I'm sewing them to the top, I don't want one of the layers to flop down and get not caught. So I'm going to do a basting stitch all the way around. If you're confident that you don't need a basting stitch, you can skip this step. It really is just to make sure that they're both on the same page. And when I go to attach them to my top, I don't want one to move down and get lost in the shuffle. So that's why I am doing a basting stitch. A lot of times I won't do a basting stitch. I'll skip that step. But because of, like I said, the lace factor, it is harder for me to undo a stitch with lace because the stitches are harder to see. So that's why I'm going the extra mile. So now we're going to go ahead and grab our bodice and we're going to attach our sleeves. I will usually turn it right inside out, the bodice, so I can fit my sleeve in there. I'm going to match the top of my sleeve with the top of my bodice. I'm going to fit this sleeve in here. Right side out. My sleeve is right side out. My dress is inside out because I want it right sides together. I'm going to match at the bottom. And now you're going to have 4 layers because you're going to have the 2 layers of your bodice, outer and liner. I'm going to cut this little tail off. And then the 2 layers of your sleeve. And then at the tippy top of the sleeve, we're going to match it at the top. And you shouldn't have to stretch or anything. And you should just go around all the way. If you have to stretch a little bit of the sleeve, when you basted it, sometimes the basting stitch, you might have to stretch it a little bit. Make sure you are catching all 4 sides, all 4 layers, I mean, and nothing else. Make sure you remove everything else out of the way. And I am doing my serger. You can do serger or zigzag stitch. It's up to you. Especially if you're using like this lace and outer are like very similar colors. You want to, I can't really tell exactly one away from the other, so we want to make sure that it is all getting cut in there. Let me see. Yeah, it all went in. Yay! So one sleeve done, and then I'm going to do exactly the same thing to the other sleeve, but I'm going to go ahead and move on to the neckband. But I'll do the next sleeve in a minute. And it's okay that I'm doing the neckband first before I do the other sleeve. I'm going to grab the neckband, and this trick I learned not that long ago, so that's why I'm telling you. You don't have to use it. It's going to be wrong sides together when we put the band together, and usually after we sew the sides we have to steam it open, but I learned that you should, some people do it before they sew it together on the round. They steam the in half first, that way after they sew it it's easier, especially with this kind of fabric that tends to like wobble, like you can see. So I went ahead and put it wrong sides together, and I made a memory crease first. And now I'm going to sew the 2 ends together, right sides together. And now that I have to fold it wrong sides together again, I already have that memory crease, so it's easier. See? Except for this little hem seam right here wants to be hard. See? Now I just have to steam it a little bit more, but it's easy. It's harder when you don't give it a first steam. So I just learned that. I'm so excited to share it with you all. Okay, and I'm pinning here. I'm going to the front, and that will be my front, and I'm gonna quarter it. So I'm just doing a little notch. So when I'm sewing it on, I can tell where it is, even if my pin moves. Notch, notch. Those are my sides, so those are my quarters. Here's my one side, and here's my other side. And then I'm gonna do the same thing for my top, my bodice. I'm gonna grab it together. And if you wanna baste that neck together, you can. But I'm not that's okay with me. I don't think I need to baste it, but that might come and haunt me later. So we're gonna go from the seams to the back, and then from the seams to the front. Remember, you gotta catch both of them, your liner and outer. And then I'm gonna meet up the front and the back, where I made that little clip right here, front and the back, and I'm gonna go to the sides, because it's not the same as the shoulders. The bigger the size, the farther it is away from the shoulder seam. So you wanna make sure that you are right where you're supposed to be. And then I'm gonna grab my neckband, and I'm going to pin it to my bodice neck, right sides together. I had a visitor there for a second. Came in, checked it out, went back out. You'll know how that is. Pinning right sides together at the marks that you made. Make sure you pin all 4 layers. And we are almost done. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and sew our band on. When I'm sewing a band, I always put my neckband face up. I start it a little bit, just a tiny bit. And then I grab my neck section where my quarter is, make sure it's all lined up. All right, so I pull my next section and I go. Make sure you remove everything from underneath it so it doesn't catch it. And then I pull my next section, make sure it's all ready. And last section. And now for the moment of truth, turn the neck around and make sure that I caught everything. I did. Yes. That's always a good feeling when you open it up and you see that you caught everything. All right, now all we've got left to do, well, all you've got left to do is to hem. I still have to put on my other sleeve because I didn't do that. But we are done. Look at that. Now all we got left to do is hem. I might leave this lace raw and hem just the liner, just because, you know, there's no need to hem the lace. I might leave this lace raw as well and just hem this arm liner. Again, it's 1/2 inch allowance, but I think I cut my, it's harder to cut lace sometimes. I think I cut my lace longer than my sleeve, so I might take more than 1/2 inch on that. And so we'll hem this bottom 1/2 inch and we are done. I hope you enjoyed this sewing tutorial. I hope you love this pattern. Please let me know if you have any questions, any concerns, anything that I didn't go over. But that's it. If you're not part of our Facebook page or our Instagram, please come and join us. We'd love to have you so we can see what you're making and you can be inspired by what we're making. And you never miss any of our new patterns coming along. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.